Right. Welcome, everyone. I think I'm supposed to say aloha, but I know that won't work for me. And neither would auf Wiedersehen or guten Abend. But how about welcome, everyone, to the third annual Cowtown Showdown. Of course, just to review a little bit about recent history, wasn't long ago that most of us didn't know what an AGM was. And then when somebody says, and we need to vote for board of directors, we thought that was the most boring thing you could possibly do, is to go to an annual general meeting for the UCP party and vote for a board of directors. But a certain leader of the grassroots movement here in Alberta told us it's not good enough to just elect a great premier, and we do have a great premier and Premier Smith, and we can be grateful for that. The best in Canada by far. It's not even close, right? So, but we were told, I remember exactly what he said, she cannot bring about the change that is necessary for this province. We must all be engaged. And so a whole bunch of us showed up for that AGM, having never been to one and having no clue what's going to happen. And it wasn't so bad after all, right? In fact, at the policy, I remember at the policy plenary, a lot of people thought, this is pretty cool. Now, we didn't know how to vote, but again, the first time we had to have a little bit of guidance, right? How this all worked. And a spark lit up in the hearts of so many people across this province and said, we can do this. This is not rocket science. This is not for the elite. This is not for the special people. The regular people of Alberta can be involved, we can be engaged, and we can make a difference. And so, you know, we went from a couple thousand that first AGM to 3,800 in the next AGM, which, by the way, was the largest in the history of Canada up to that point. And that last year we rocked it at near 6,000 people. Yeah, let's give yourselves a hand. So in case you're wondering, I'm Roy Beyer and one of the people involved with Calgary Lougheed. And Darrell's usually up here doing a much better job. But since he's one of the candidates, we asked him to participate as a candidate. And just to know and understand the expectation tonight, we're going to hear from a lot of candidates running all across the province. There's 4 zones in Alberta: the North Zone, the Edmonton, the Central, the Calgary, and the South. So there's a new director being elected for each of those positions. And by the way, they get the same vote as the president. So these are important people. Even if they're regionals, you want to pick the very best possible, and you can only know that if you hear from them, right? So we're going to hear first from the regionals, starting in the north, and then heading south. And again, even if it's not part of your region, let's celebrate their willingness to serve. Let's listen to what they have to say and spread the word as to who the best candidate might be. And again, that's going to be the first part. Then the second part is going to be the VP. So and several vice presidents, and we'll have somebody else explain who that is. And we're going to give them a little more time because these individuals represent the entire province. So the secretary position, for example, there's 4 candidates. We're going to hear from each one of them, and it's going to be fantastic to, again, listen to what they have to say, listen to the passion, to the heart, and then be able to make a choice. You get to vote for those VP positions, the secretary, the VP of communications, and there's one more, right? And then the grand finale of the night will be for the presidents. This is the biggest volunteer job on the planet, to be the president of the UCP party. These guys are not getting paid. They are serving at a very, very, very high level. And when you have 2 individuals of high caliber, I really believe 2 individuals of high caliber willing to serve, maybe with a slightly nuance of difference. And we're going to hear about that, but that's going to be the culmination of the evening, is to hear from those 2 candidates and a little bit of a debate back and forth and that kind of thing. So I want to, again, thank you for coming out tonight. This is being live streamed across the province. It's being recorded, an awful lot of people, but I want to congratulate you for coming out tonight. And I want to introduce, first of all, the finest MLA in the province, my personal opinion, right? And so he's the MLA from Calgary Lougheed. Let's welcome Eric Bouchard.
From Lougheed's law to the bow bright burst, sing Alberta. Alberta first. Let the trumpet call through the mountain air. Let the echo ride proud and fair.
I was enjoying that. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Calgary Lougheed's third Cowtown Showdown. All right. If you would have told me that even 3 years ago that I'd be standing up here, let alone having our president of Calgary Lougheed running for the president of the party, as well as the many volunteers, the many friends we've gotten to know over the last few years, I would have not believed any of it. But thank you all for coming tonight. Tonight really is about unity. It's about conservatives coming together, people of conviction, principle, and courage to strengthen our movement and to chart the course ahead. I've received my fair share of nasty messages over the last few years from some angry leftists, socialists, the woke mob, even some just this morning. They're loud, bitter. They seem to have made outrage a full-time occupation. In my opinion, their anger stems from something deeper, though. It's a lack of faith and a loss of foundational values that once kept our society grounded in principle and truth. When people abandon these roots, they turn to government as the answer for everything. They want the state to wave an authoritarian wand and fix what only families, communities, and individuals can truly repair. That's why now, more than any other time in Alberta's history, we need a bold return to conservative values. The values that built this province and made it strong. Faith, family, free enterprise, free speech, hard work, and of course, freedom. Thank you. Our children need rational adults who will stand up and just say no. Our neighbors need to talk to each other again. Our families need to be put back together again. In Calgary Lougheed, we have a saying, we win people over one conversation at a time. And that's exactly what's happening in coffee shops, staff rooms, churches, pubs, kitchen tables, and right here in rooms like this one. By the way, I also want to thank the Glenmore Christian Academy for sharing their facility with us tonight. And to those of you attending in person and those tuning in online, your presence tonight shows your dedication to something bigger than yourself. You're here because you believe in holding elected officials accountable and because you want to be part of shaping Alberta's next chapter. Before we begin, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to all the outgoing board members for their service and commitment to our party. You've helped lay the groundwork for the next generation of leadership. And to all those putting their names forward tonight, thank you for stepping up. Leadership, yes. Leadership isn't about seeking recognition, it's about seeking responsibility. Election 2027 may feel far off, but make no mistake, the opposition has already begun their campaign. We have a lot of work ahead of us, and it starts here with unity, conviction, and action. So let's all together, let's stand together, let's move forward together, and let's continue to make Alberta prosperous, strong, and free. Thanks, everyone, and have a great night. Thank you.
I love the calmness and the strength of that man. It's just something else. And real strong, yeah. So normally we'd have a single moderator, and to fill that position, we had to find at least two, right? So, so we have two fantastic moderators tonight to basically keep everyone sort of organized. We've got the red and the green and the blue card up here. So that's going to be to make sure everyone stays on time. We'll be very strict on that. Otherwise, we'll all be here till midnight. So we can't be here till midnight. But I want to introduce the two moderators. First of all, the first, Brad LaForge, a businessman, very, very successful businessman, but also I should a little shout out to the Bow Valley Credit Union. He's on the board of directors for the finest bank in Alberta. So, but technically not a bank, but you know what I'm saying, a good place to place your money. But Brad also is a volunteer. He's the Calgary director for the board of directors with the UCP party. So has worked very, very, very hard in many ways and in many places. And so just because he's not up for election this year, he qualifies as being a fantastic moderator. So let's welcome Brad as he comes. Thanks, Brad. The other guy has a little bit more of a wild edge, Sheldon, one of those freedom warriors during the day, great with social media and that kind of thing. But he's one of those people that realize, you know, the only way we can win this battle is to work with the establishment party and influence that in the right direction. That was a hard thing for some of us to do, but to realize the UCP party was the better of the two choices, and we needed to bring about change within the party. And so Sheldon is very active with certain of the constituency associations. He also ran for council for alderman in Ward 4, and that is the hardest work I've ever experienced. Wards are massive and so huge. And so, again, we had a couple conservatives running against each other, unfortunately. But Sheldon was, again, heroic, standing up for what he believes in and really realizing the importance of the practicality of us influencing change in the best of the two parties. The United Conservative Party, of course, is the best of those two parties. And we've seen some really positive changes, but we're just getting started. Let's welcome Sheldon. Sheldon Yakachuk. I forgot to mention the last name. It took me a long time to pronounce that name, so I had to brag about it.
Thank you, Roy. As Roy said, one of two regional directors for Calgary that I share the duties with Irma Roberts. She is running again this year. We've got 26 CAs here within the city, so we each take 13. It is my pleasure to host with Sheldon tonight. He'll say a few words here shortly. Our goal is to keep the evening running smoothly and to ensure that each and every one of our candidates has an equal opportunity to share their vision and their ideas. We have 20 of 23 candidates participating, whether it be in person or by Zoom. A little bit of housekeeping. I think it might have been mentioned, but candidates for regional director will have 3 minutes to introduce themselves. We'll follow it up with some questions. Then we'll go into the executive positions, the VPs. They have 4 minutes, followed by questions, and we'll end this night with our two presidential candidates and have a really good, fulsome discussion there. It was only a year ago that I decided to run for a board position, and it's been a significant commitment and not without its challenges. It's also been incredibly rewarding. Our true strength lies in staying united in purpose and resolve. And tonight, let's focus on what brings us together and the passion that will drive us forward. Give it to Sheldon.
I wanted to thank everybody for showing up today. Like Brad, I had, and everybody that's at home viewing this as well, to all the candidates. Like Brad, I was going to stand up last year for one of the director positions, and then I'd seen Brad had thrown his name in, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna stand aside and let the better man take the position. And there's two things that I have to say about that. Is one, I was right. Brad's filled the role really well. Proud to be standing on stage and working with Brad throughout this event. And the second thing is, wow, did I dodge that bullet? Whew. No, there's a lot of work, and it's a lot of thankless jobs. I've had a lot of great conversations with members of the board. I appreciate all the candidates that are taking their time to throw their name into the ring. You know, we've got some challenges facing our province, facing our country over the next couple of years here, and we need a strong board that's passionate, strong in their convictions, and brings forward the conservative movement. So I'm thankful to be on stage here, thankful to be part of the festivities, and looking forward to seeing how the conversations go this evening. So thanks everybody for being here, and let's look forward to a great evening.
Thank you, Sheldon. One thing I want to mention, I Am Albertan table is out front, and they are donating their proceeds from this evening's sales to Calgary Lougheed to cover costs for this event. So please support them. Yes, Sheldon, that was Sheldon's one job, and he's already, he's down one.
We're already behind.
Okay, so I'm going to put this mic back here. We'll get these other ones going. We're going to start, work our way on regional directors from north to south. So we have two running in the north, neither of which are here. However, Sam Stanky is going to read what Vicky Komick has prepared, and Benjamin Gill is the other candidate. And unfortunately, we don't have anything from Benjamin.
So Brad is correct. I am not Vicky. My name is Samantha, and I'm honored to be reading on behalf of a very dear friend of mine tonight. She unfortunately couldn't be here as her aunt suffered a fall and broke her elbow, so she is tending to her. She sends her sincere thanks to you for taking your time and your service and commitment to our party. Good evening, everyone. My name is Vicky Komick, and I'm asking for your support to continue serving as your Northern Regional Director. Why am I running? One word: members. Almost 10 years ago, I asked, how can I help? And since then, I've been doing exactly that. I know the challenges that the North faces. I know the work ahead, and I can't wait to get us election ready. This past term, I've supported our Northern CAs with AGMs, board meetings, fundraising, policy development, nomination contests, and membership growth. With boundary changes on the horizon, I'll continue to guide founding meetings so that our association stays strong and no one gets left behind. I currently serve as the chair of the Party Candidate Selection Committee, as chair of the Policy Subcommittee, and I sit on both the AGM and Communications Committees. I've helped facilitate youth engagement across the province, served as a CA president, and put boots on the ground for our MLAs. Fundraising, door knocking, traveling the province, and meeting with members. I've lived it all. Let me be honest about something important: the role of the board and how we ensure government listens to its members. Our party is built by grassroots conservatives. We are not a top-down organization. Members have levers, advocacy, influence at the board table, and yes, if ever needed, a 2/3 requirement for a special general meeting. Few will say that out loud, but those protections matter. They keep our leadership accountable and our movement true to its conservative principles. I'm committed to integrity, respecting different opinions, and building unity. Not by pretending disagreements don't exist, but by working through them. My family and I live in Fort McMurray. We are proud, lifelong conservatives. I've run a consulting business for over 20 years with a Bachelor of Commerce and an MBA specializing in finance and marketing. I bring real-world experience, governance knowledge, and communication skills to this role, and I do it because I care. I care about our members, I care about our northern communities, and I care about the future of this party. The North deserves strong representation. Your voices matter, and I'll fight to make sure they're heard at the board table. Our party does best when we hold true to our conservative values, and I intend to keep fighting for those values. So tonight, I'm asking for your support. Vote freedom, vote true representation, vote Vicky. Thank you, and I truly wish I could have been there with you this evening.
Thank you, Sam. As I mentioned, Benjamin, we don't have anything, so we'll just move straight into Edmonton Regional Directors. We have 4 running up there. We have Jaspreet Sagu. We have not received anything from him, but the other 3 are attending via Zoom: Andre Grandin, Abigail Johnson, and Rick Mallet. We're going to do a quick draw of numbers to see what order they will speak in. And go from there, Sheldon. So the first one is for Andre. Andre will speak number 2. Abigail will speak number 1. And Rick will speak 3rd. Us over there. Andre will speak number 2. Abigail will speak number 1. And Rick will speak 3rd. Us over there. Andre will speak number 2. Abigail will speak number 1. And Rick. Andre will speak number 2. Abigail. Great. So, Abigail, you are first. Take it away. So, Abigail, you are first. Take it away. So, Abigail, you are first. Take it away. Abigail, you are. Want us to move to Central? We do have one on Zoom there as well. Okay, we'll move on to Central. Central, we have 3 candidates running. We have Adam Doyle, who's joining us by Zoom. We have Albert Beal, who's in attendance, and Brian Gulka. If we could have Brian and Al join us on stage. So we need 1 and 2 out. We need number 4. Okay, so we'll draw. First ball out is for Adam Doyle. Adam will speak first. Hopefully we have our technical issue solved. Albert Beal will speak 3rd, and Brian Golka will go 2nd. How are we doing upstairs? Do we have Adam?
No, he's giving us the throat cut. So let's go with our second speaker. Let's get Albert. Oh, sorry, Brian.
Brian?
I think I'm first. Good evening, everyone. My name is Brian Gulka, and I was born and raised in rural Alberta, in the kind of community where hard work, family, and looking out for your neighbor was just a way of life. In addition to farming, I spent many years working in the oil patch and running a small construction business that produced products and services across Alberta, helping support industries that keep our province moving, from small towns to large cities. I'm not a career politician. I'm someone who lived the real ups and downs that government decisions can create for everyday Albertans. I'm running because I believe every Albertan, rural or urban, deserves a strong voice in decisions that shape our future. Over the years, I've served on a number of boards and currently hold executive positions on the boards of directors for both our MLA and MP, as well as several provincial organizations. That experience has taught me how to lead effectively, build consensus, and get real results from the people I represent. Our province works best when every member, every region, has a seat at the table. I stand with Premier Danielle Smith as she defends our freedoms, stands up to Ottawa, and brings common sense leadership back to government. Together, let's keep our movement strong, united, true to the people who built this province, so Alberta's destiny is decided by Albertans, not anyone else. Because at the end of the day, this is our home, our future, our freedom, and it's worth standing up for. Thank you.
Thank you. I grew up on a farm just southeast of Lacombe, and when I graduated from high school, I went to NAIT and took building construction technology, and then I started a construction company, and Trudeau Sr. Killed the economy, so you could tell you how, and as a result of that, I ended up having to sell my company, and I decided, well, I'm being unemployed, I'll sit at university and get my engineering degree. And as a result of that, I was able to work in the oil and gas industry, primarily for Imperial Oil, and eventually as a senior project manager. And I've been married to my wife for 47 years, and we have our own engineering consulting business. And she's with us today. But anyways, the reason I got involved in politics is because I see the same pattern that's happening now as what I saw when we were just married and starting out as a family. And I see the devastation that this country is going through. And more so now, I mean, back then it was mostly economic, but today I see a tremendous pressure on our values, our faith, and our families and our freedom. And that's what I'm standing up for. I also remember what it was like to be one of you sitting in the audience and not really feeling I had a voice at the table. So my number one goal is to make sure that the grassroots members are represented at the Provincial Board of Directors. And so the Provincial Board of Directors, our next year or so, we're going to have 89 nominations. And I want to make sure that all our 89 nominations are fair, transparent, and we honor the wishes of our grassroots members, and we don't turn over those at the provincial board level. The next thing we have to do at the provincial level is get ready for the election. And that is extremely important. Like Eric mentioned earlier, is that our opposition is already working on that, and we must start working hard now. First with nominations, and then getting everybody ready, door knocking, and getting all the information that we need. And so, I live in Strathcona County, and my counterpart Abigail lives near Sylvan Lake, so I can work really well with her and cover the whole territory. The other thing is, lost my train of thought here, but anyways. So it's really important. I feel that the last 2 years have prepared me for the challenges that we're going to face in the next 2 years, because we're going to have some really challenging times in the next 2 years to win the next election and try to keep our party united, because we've got to work and stay united to keep Alberta strong and free. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. We've got Adam. Bear with me. We're going to do this the non-technical way. So, Adam, if you could start your speech, we'll catch you.
Perfect. Good evening, everyone. Not exactly what I had planned, but we'll take it from here. My name is Adam Doyle, and I'm proud to represent Central Alberta in this race for regional director. I was born and raised right here in Alberta, and my wife and I are now raising our family in the same community we both grew up in. I've spent my career building businesses, leading teams, and working with people across the province. From Calgary to Camrose, Red Deer to Wainwright, and everywhere I go, I see the same thing. Albertans who work hard, care deeply for their communities, and want a government and party that do the same. I'm running because I believe the UCP should always reflect those shared values: responsibility, accountability, and respect for the people who make Alberta go. Whether you live downtown or on a farm, we all want strong leadership that listens, acts with integrity, and puts Albertans first. Central Alberta plays a vital role in the success of this province, and it's where small business, energy, and innovation meet. But none of that matters without collaboration across the region. As regional director, I want to help bridge those connections, ensuring that the voices from every corner of Alberta work together to build a stronger, more unified party. My approach is simple. Listen to members, bring forward their ideas, and make sure every voice is heard. Because when we stay connected, when Calgary, Central Alberta, and every region pull in the same direction, we can achieve incredible things. I believe in a UCP that's forward-looking, rooted in our shared principles, and focus on results, not rhetoric. Together, we can keep Alberta strong, competitive, and united. Thank you for the opportunity to earn your trust and to bring a strong, collaborative Central Alberta voice to the table.
Thank you, Adam. Please stay on the line. Sheldon, we've got a question here for the Central Regional Directors. Guys, can we get the mic turned on? One of the
Number 7.
There we go. Got it.
Okay, so what are we going to get? We're going to get, oh, Adam's still on the line, so why don't we get him the first question? Adam, can you hear me?
I can, yeah, you got it.
Adam, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Okay, perfect. So what specific challenges do you see in your region?
I think that the challenges are a little different in our region just because we do have a strong group that looks after the UCP or the conservative movement quite well. I think our challenge is going to be to keep our eye on the ball, really, and not get, too tied up in having that piece for us all the time. And I think that, really connecting with the younger voters is going to be a big part of what we need to do in our area, just because our voter turnout with the younger folks is, in the regional and the, just in our local last election was a little bit lower with the kids or with the younger people than it has been with the older folks. So I think that trying to engage young voters and get the voting participation up is going to be pretty important.
Perfect. All right, we're going to move on to our second speaker and ask the same question. So that's going to be you, Brian. What specific challenges do you see in the region? And how would you address them?
So the biggest challenge we have actually in Alberta is the rural-urban divide that we have. Everybody talks about the east-west divide, but we really have an urban-rural divide. And we're very strong in our area. I think our MLA got 84% of the vote in our area. And so our problem is how do we engage the city people with the rural people? And one way could be maybe we should do more events with our constituencies in the cities, and vice versa, have the constituency associations come out to our areas. That's just one of the reasons, or one of the things that would probably work. Thank you.
And now, Albert, same question. Did you need the question again?
Yep.
Okay, so what specific challenges do you see in your region, and what would you do to address them?
The way I see our biggest challenges that I feel in our region as Central Alberta, we probably our values are being attacked by Ottawa, and then sometimes I think we as people in Central Alberta feel that the Conservative Party doesn't really stand up strong enough for our values and is bending too much to the left, and so we got to make sure that we maintain our strong values and that the UCP party does stay strong to its values and that we support our Central Alberta people, because Ottawa is doing a really good job in attacking agriculture and the oil industry, and those are the two main areas our industries in Central Alberta, and especially our values and especially for our freedoms, because that's what we really, really believe in. Thanks.
And that's great, because that really does segue into our second question. And it's not going to go to all regions. We're just not trying to fill time. We're just trying to make up the best conversations that we can bring forward. So being predominantly rural regions that overwhelmingly vote Conservative, what can you do to work to support the efforts to win back seats in Calgary and Edmonton while maintaining and strengthening support in your own rural bases?
Adam, we'll go to you first.
Okay. So yeah, I think that a lot of that with the same question from before, or the same answer before. I see in the cities we see a lot of that same where we're not engaging the younger voters, but at the same time we do need to bridge some of those gaps between rural values and some of the different problems that we're seeing inside of the cities. I think that also comes from Ottawa and different things like that. We need to expand on trying to bridge the gaps between everybody and try to bring everybody together.
Thank you. We'll go to Brian Golka next.
Did you need the question again? Okay. So, being predominantly rural regions, in the overwhelming vote, that overwhelmingly vote Conservative, what can you do to work with and support the efforts to win back seats in Calgary and Edmonton while still maintaining and strengthening support within your own rural base?
Well, I'm not really too worried about the rural base because that's our base. That's the UCP's base, is rural Alberta. Like I said before, we need to somehow communicate better with the cities. We need to have functions or something, events that we can include them and tell them about our lifestyles, but also learn about their lifestyle and their problems that they're facing. So that would be my main goal, and to try to get the constituencies associations to work together to accommodate that.
Rural Alberta and central Alberta, we have the same issues that our urban counterparts have. Basically, affordability, healthcare, education, and one area that we really, that's a slightly different, is policing. So I think if we focus on those areas, especially affordability, healthcare, and education, we have those same common values, and if we promote them both in urban and rural Alberta, I think we will do much better and have really great policies, and that's how we're going to have to win the next election, because those are the issues that all Albertans are facing. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, for all your insight, and I think we're in good hands whichever way this goes, so appreciate you being here. Adam, I'll let you go. We will come back to Edmonton. Roy's working on 4 phones I'll have to hold. But we will jump straight to Calgary. We've got 2 candidates running. Irma Roberts is the incumbent, and Richard Asselin, who I just met last Thursday at Calgary Bow, has also put his name forward. So we'll let them draw their own ping pong balls. See who goes first. Irma's going second. So Richard, you'll go first, and we'll jump right into it here with your 3 minutes.
My belt is tight so my pants won't fall down. I don't think I have broccoli in my teeth. So let's get at it. Good evening, fellow Conservatives. My name is Richard Asselin. Yes, I'm running for Calgary Director position. Quick introductory notes. Married 31 years, 5 kids, been living in Mackenzie Lake since 1997. Provincially, that is Rick McIver's riding, and federally, it is Tom Komick. Both fantastic guys. You have no idea how much I love living in such a conservative place. It is really great. So, now if you did hear 5 kids and think, gee, does this guy have time for the position? Because it is, as Brad has told me repeatedly, very time consuming. Yes, I do. My 5 kids are old and pretty much out of the house, mostly for the most part. So I have plenty of time for the position. Next, I also started and I own a business in fleet management where I set my own hours. So again, lots of time to respond quickly to constituency association issues. If you're wondering about my political background, well, I joined the Reform Party back around 1989. I'm kind of old. And I met Preston Manning, not that he'd remember it. I was a nobody then, still a nobody now. But I got so involved back then, I became a constituency assistant to a Reform Party MP. At the same time, I was encouraged to run locally and for a local position, which I did, and I was elected to a school trustee position. There was 3 lefties and 4 of us fairly hardcore conservatives. We're considered moderate now. So during that time, actually just want to back up. On a quick aside, nothing happening right now with the Alberta Teachers Association is new. everything is exactly the same, the exact same complaints, exact same partisan politicking by the union on behalf of the NDP. So I think Dimitri is doing a fantastic job for us. But now, since that time, I've been involved in local, provincial, and federal campaigns in both Alberta and in BC. There we go on that. That's my background. Now let's move forward. First off, I want to state the director position is not a policy-oriented position, it's a support position. I'm here to support and assist the constituency associations in whatever means possible. What do I want to accomplish? Well, this is gross, but out of 26 Calgary constituencies, only 11 are UCP, 15 are NDP. This absolutely disgusts me. So, number one, and it should disgust you too, thank you. Number one, let's support existing UCP constituencies with MLAs, with UCP MLAs, particularly those with ministers where they're being targeted for recall, like Dimitri here in Calgary-Bow. I was at their AGM last week. Number two, like it or not, this is actually kind of funny, Calgary's motto is Blue Sky City, whether you like it or not. I don't think Jody Gondek meant it this way, but let's help those Calgary ridings, which are that currently NDP orange, let's get them back to UCP blue. Okay, so Blue Sky City means Calgary UCP blue. Thank you. So I do believe Alberta is worth fighting for. Our values are worth defending. Our party is worth strengthening. So I'm not here to impose, I'm here to contribute. And I'm ready to work with every member of this party to make sure we're ready for what comes next. Some people are confused these days about what or who they are. Let me be clear, I identify as a conservative and as an Albertan. I'm proud of that. If you agree with me and identify with those values, then please vote for Richard Asplund for Calgary Director at the AGM. Thank you.
Well, good evening and thank you for coming. I have very sweet memories being here tonight. The last time I was on the stage, my youngest son was in grade 9, and I was talking to the grade 9 students about their trip to Mexico and the fundraising efforts. That evening he came home and he said, "You've got an accent." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I have an accent and it's not going anywhere." I just came back from South Africa where I went to see family. It's always hard when I leave my mom behind, and then I'm thinking, it's like, why did I do it? I choose to come to Canada because I wanted to have a better future for my kids, and I also wanted to feel safe. But the Canada that I've moved to many years ago is not the Canada of today. I don't have to tell you about Trudeau and Carney and the NDP and what they have done to this province. Alberta is my life stand. I'm not moving again. So we have to keep this province conservative. We cannot afford another NDP win. So how do we do that? We have to stay unified. We have to support Premier Daniel Smith. We have to support our MLAs and stop focusing on what is dividing us. When I practiced litigation, I used to tell my clients, you cannot get everything you're asking for. That only happens on American TV programs like Law and Order. It doesn't happen in real life, and it doesn't happen in politics. Divided, we weaken. United, we win. Here in Calgary, we have conservatives all over the spectrum. Let's focus on what unites us. The success of 7 CAs working together to do a Stampede breakfast where thousands of people showed up shows that it's possible for CAs in Calgary to come together. I plan to host a citywide event for conservative women in January 2026 if I get reelected. I mean, nothing happens in January. Christmas has gone by, and we need to reach out to middle-class women in Calgary. We have to win them back to win this election. Everything we do is about the future, our families, our communities, our province. I came to Canada not because of the snow. I came to Canada because I believe in opportunity, hard work, and freedom, and to feel safe. And those are the values that I think is worth fighting for. Let's stand together. Let's keep Alberta strong, free, conservative, and let's win the next election.
Okay, so we have one question that we're going to be asking to both of you. So in the last provincial election, this was already somewhat mentioned, Alberta came within just 3,700 votes of an NDP government. Over 105,000 voters in Calgary didn't turn out, resulting in our party's supermajority of 23 out of 26 Calgary seats in 2019 being reduced to a minority, with only 12 UCP seats versus 14 for the NDP. Given the current turbulence in Alberta's political landscape, what is your plan to work with the 26 Calgary CAs to rebuild support and to win back Calgary as a majority stronghold for the UCP? I'll take you first, Richard.
What a great question. Yeah, so number one is working with historically, working with provincial and federal constituencies in the past. Some are very strong, some are very weak. And we need to focus on assisting the existing ones like Dimitri, where he's facing recall. I think he only won by less than 1,000 votes last time. And when a recall, that's rather than just support them, but we also need to support, and as a director, need to support building up those constituencies where they don't have a huge support base or they don't have a large executive that can build on that. So I would like to focus on helping the weaker ones, number one, and then number two is focusing on getting the message out that the NDP doesn't actually help working class people. Prosperity, capitalism, freedom, that is what helps build companies, which helps build people and employees.
Thanks. So Irma, same question. Did you need me to read it again?
No, I'm okay.
Okay.
Thanks. I really believe in the value of CAs. We need to continue to support them and give them the tools to be election ready. We have done a lot, and the board have done a lot of training sessions in the past year. I also believe we really have to do outreach to communities where we need to win the vote back. And that is, as I have said, a lot of women who's concerned and they don't hear enough about healthcare from our MLAs, about education. We need to get those people back to vote for the UCP. And that's why I want to do specific events for women and work with CAs to do that. I also want CAs to work more together, because if we are united, we can win. And I want to have less division on specific CAs. We've been working hard this year where there's CAs where people just don't get along. We need to focus again on what can get us elected and what is not going to help us in the way. So yes, that's what my plan is for Calgary, to continue what I have been doing, to reach out. We had a great event in the Northeast where we had lots of people coming up, and that's what I would like to continue to do. Thank you.
Thank you both. Appreciate it. You're done. Still holding on, Edmonton? We'll go south. We'll hear about it. So in the south, we have two people running for one position. Trudy Corbett is not standing for election, so we have two new people. Ed Vandenberg did not submit anything, so we haven't heard. But we do have Jody Gateman here. So Jody, please come up and introduce yourself.
Oh my goodness, everybody's been so short and sweet tonight. And so when I was told 3 minutes, I took that seriously, you guys. Sitting at the kitchen table at a political meeting, I could feel something moving around under the table. And when I looked underneath, it was a small child, about 5 or 6, playing under there. And at the end of the meeting, I checked again, and that child was now contently sleeping. First of all, I'd like to welcome all the members to the Cowtown Showdown Forum. This is my first time here. My name is Jody Gateman, and as I'm sure you've all figured out, I was that child sleeping under the table. I've heard that story many times from my mentor, so I can actually tell you I have been involved with politics since I was knee-high. At the age of 24, I ran my first campaign after I received lots of requests to run more, both political and federal. I have to tell you, one of my favorite campaigns was the Senators in Waiting. I know we don't have them up there yet, but I'm aging myself. They had a dessert auction where the MLAs and the MPs were the bakers. I've never seen burnt cookies go for so much money, ever. I'm a teacher by profession. I'm 53 years of age. I have 4 beautiful children. My husband and I own and operate an agriculture enterprise just south of Calgary. I'm on the fourth generation family farm. Will be 100 years in 2028. So being a teacher by profession, I'm used to explaining things in many different ways until that concept gets across. So we need to do that. We need to help people understand conservatism. We need to understand what those policies, procedures are, how to talk to the voters. My entrepreneur skills do have me operating multiple companies. And one of the things my employees always say, because we talk about marketing and advertising, talk to the dog in the language of the dog about what's important to the dog. We don't talk to the dog about carrots, because the dog doesn't care about carrots. He cares about beef. We need to talk to the voters in the language of the voters about what's important to the voters. Okay? And how do we figure that out? How do we figure out there's different voters in the north, south, central, they all like something different. We talk to our CAs, we talk to our members on the ground to figure out what it is that we need to talk to those voters about and what that language is. And of course, I put my iPhone on turn off while you're talking to people. That's okay. I've got the experience of being a top 40 under 40, class of 09. I know I'm aging myself. Commissioner of Oaths, I have my PhD, so if I refer to you as Doctor, I'm Dr. Gateman, you know you've gotten on my bad side. People are sick and tired of the political spin and rhetoric that they've been given, and they need some political honesty. That's why I want to run on the board here. We need to make sure our powerful CA members are informed, and we are conservative. We are strong, we are united, and conservative is not a bad word. Thank you for your consideration. Yeah, okay. All right, sir.
Okay, so for all of our rural groups, the northern, central, and southern, we have the same question. So being predominantly rural, that overwhelmingly vote conservative, what can you do to work with and support the efforts to win back seats in Calgary and Edmonton while still maintaining and strengthening support within your own rural base?
Well, I think I'm going to bounce off of one of the other regional candidates and talking about that urban-rural divide. I am a county councillor for the County of Vulcan. I see it quite a lot when we try to work hand in hand with cities around us. There's a big divide there. Again, we need to talk to those people in their language. We that sit in these rural areas have a very different viewpoint, a very different language. We need to start talking to people about what's important to them in what we believe in. So standing up for those conservative values, but changing the message slightly so someone else can interpret it. When someone tells you we have a deficit of whatever $1 trillion it is, no one can understand that because no one sees it. But if you say take 6 zeros off there, you now have part where their budget, their mind can now look at it. We need to change that message. We are conservative, we're not rural, we're not urban, we're not divided against one another. We need to be united. Just changing that message slightly so that they're hearing what they can understand makes all the difference. That's it. Thank you, sir.
I have good news. Edmonton has been restored. Sheldon, tell me the order again. Perfect. I'm not going to believe it till I see it, but Ryan, there we are. Okay, so just a reminder, we're going to go with Abigail first, Andre second, and Rick third. Abigail, go ahead.
All right, hopefully this works and you can all hear me. Good evening, everyone. My name is Abby Johnson, and I'm running to be your Edmonton director on the United Conservative Party board. I grew up on a farm in central Alberta where I learned early the value of hard work and responsibility. I was always involved in my community, from volunteering at church to being an active member of 4-H. In my local 4-H club, I had the privilege of serving as secretary and president, and later I served as district president. Through those experiences, I gained valuable board and leadership experience, learning how to run an effective meeting, follow proper procedure, and make sure every voice is heard. That same drive carried into my education. I graduated high school at 16 and went on to earn my business diploma with a concentration in entrepreneurship and small business from Red Deer Polytechnic at the age of 18. During my time there, I served as vice president of the founding Conservative Club, helping create a space for students to connect over ideas, engage in discussion, and stand confidently for conservative values on campus. After that, I spent a year abroad studying at Bible school, where I earned a certificate in Christian life and service. That experience deepened my belief that leadership is truly about service, about using your time and energy to make a meaningful difference in the lives of others. Now, I live in Edmonton, a city I'm proud to call home. I've continued to stay active in politics, volunteering on campaigns and working alongside others who share a vision for a strong and united conservative movement. I know this position will take hard work, and I'm ready for that. I'm willing to dedicate my time and energy because I believe in this party and in what it stands for. I'll work to ensure our policies reflect what matters most to Albertans: freedom, personal responsibility, and strong families. Alberta is a strong, resilient province, built by people who value hard work, independence, and common sense. We need to protect that strength by standing firm, ensuring Ottawa doesn't dictate policies that affect our resources, economy, or way of life. Our province thrives when we make decisions for Albertans by Albertans. I'm passionate about engaging young people in politics, encouraging them to own their beliefs and stand boldly for conservative values. If we want our movement to thrive in the future, we need young voices today, people who are principled, passionate, and ready to lead. I've seen how much potential we have when generations of conservatives work together. I'm Abby Johnson, here to listen, to represent you, and keep our party united, strong, and free. Thank you.
And now we're going to go to Andre. Sorry, did you hear me? We're going to be getting Andre to introduce himself and go through his introduction.
Andre is there. Andre, can you hear us? Working on it. Yeah, we'll jump forward. We'll go to Rick and we'll come back to Andre. Rick, take it away.
Thanks, everybody. Good evening. Hopefully you can hear me okay. So I'm Rick Mallon. I'm running for the Edmonton Regional Director position. Thanks to everybody with Calgary Lougheed for organizing this event tonight. I'm sorry I couldn't be down in Calgary. I was at the Edmonton Oilers game on Saturday night, and after that 9-1 blowout loss, I thought I better stay here, not be exposed to too much ridicule from Flames fans. So I'm going to touch on my background and some reasons to consider voting for me. I was born in Lloydminster on the Alberta side, and I've lived in Edmonton now for over 40 years. I obtained my law degree from the University of Alberta in 1989, and I've practiced law since that time. I'm the owner of my own law firm here in Edmonton. It's primarily a litigation firm. We focus on class actions, personal injury, medical malpractice, corporate commercial litigation, and some wills and estates work. I work at the firm with my incredible wife, Christine. She's our office manager. We've been married for almost 35 years. We have 3 amazing children. Our oldest son has a music degree from MacEwan University. Our middle son is an officer in the Air Force. And our incredible baby daughter, not so baby anymore, is in grade 12. So why vote for me? I've been a conservative supporter for decades now, and I have experience serving on boards, including currently as the Vice President Policy and Governance with St. Joseph's College at the University of Alberta. I understand the importance of a board that functions well and efficiently and is responsive to the needs of the membership. I learned long ago that being on a board or in any type of leadership position requires that a person listen carefully to the concerns of its members and be responsive in real and concrete ways. In Edmonton, we need to continue the hard work that is ongoing to elect MLAs in the next provincial election. This is very much boots on the ground, hard work, selling memberships, fundraising, and helping each CA with the unique needs in their area. I think we as a board would need to listen to each CA to identify what is working and what's not, figure out what their challenges are, and then work hard on addressing those issues and the steps going forward. We need to focus on support for the party and our individual members in the ongoing battle with the NDP and the ideologies on the left. The legislature is in session now in Edmonton, and the difference in vision for our province is clear. We need as a board to continue to support policies that support families as the building block of our society. We need to elect a strong majority to resist efforts to limit freedom of speech and thought. And as the owner of a small business, I understand the pressures and challenges faced by many in this room, and the need for Albertans to support policies that keep as much of our hard-earned money as possible. And I understand the need for freedom and protection of our rights. In short, I believe I have the background and the experience to be able to serve effectively on the board as we head into the next election cycle. And I plan to continue to work hard on keeping Alberta such a beautiful place to be and raise a family. Thank you.
Okay, and I apologize, that is not Andre there, that is Gordon. He's eager for the next one. He's running for secretary. So don't know where Andre is. I think Roy's gone to check, but I think we'll just move straight into the question that Sheldon has for our two Edmonton candidates that are here.
All right, guys. As it stands, Edmonton remains entirely represented by NDP MLAs, not a single UCP seat in the city. Meanwhile, the surrounding rural ridings form a solid conservative blue donut. Given the dynamic, what is your plan specifically to win back seats in Edmonton and rebuild meaningful support for the UCP within the city? We'll start with you, Abigail.
The MLAs in the next election winning. And so what we need to do is really focus on the constituencies that we have a chance at. There are a few that we were really close at winning last election. And so we really need to focus in on those constituencies, get to the doors, get out the vote, and really get those people voting for our MLAs to get them in. And with the constituencies surrounding us that do have a conservative MLA, really helping to utilize that support. I know there's strong constituency associations that are willing to give some of the more struggling associations some money, so we can use that support and hopefully getting some of those conservative MLAs to come out and help and support. And yeah, just really focusing in on those constituencies that we have a chance on.
Great job. And now for yourself, Rick, did you need the question again?
So is that for me? It's hard to hear. Sorry about that. I'm happy to kind of just jump in on. Yeah, there are a number of constituencies I think that we can win here. Probably 7 or 8, are realistic, both north and south in Edmonton. I think in terms of boots on the ground planning, what we need to do is really connect with community leaders in the constituencies. They have a lot of influence there. So I think we'd start with that, trying to connect with them at different events, community leagues, those kinds of events. I remember it's years ago now, but you might remember Stephen Mandel was our mayor here in Edmonton quite a long time ago. And he came from far behind, was not well recognized, and managed to beat the incumbent. And he did it by being at every event. He was at every small event, every large event, until you couldn't ignore him. And he was there, and he was honest, and he communicated well, and he just kind of told it like it is. So I think, in terms of that, that's what we're going to have to do. It's going to be a lot of work, but I think we focus in on those 7 or 8 constituencies and really work hard on that. We've got a very good chance.
Thank you, Abby and Rick. Look forward to working with either one of you and turn a little bit of Edmonton blue. Also, I saw Benita shaking her head when we mentioned the blue donut. I believe there's two that are orange, so we have to work on those as well. Anyhow, thank you both. If we do get him, we will bring him on, but we're going to move on now to secretary. So for secretary, we have 4 people running for this position. We have Gordon, who's on Zoom, and we have Daniel Harder, Stacy Vanderveen, and Scott Payne. We'll let them each draw their ping pong balls for order, and Gordon, you'll be whatever's left over.
Good evening, everyone. It's great to see so many fellow Conservatives out on a Monday night. My name is Stacy Vanderveen. Let me tell you a little bit about myself and why I am running for Secretary for the UCP Board of Directors. First, the personal things. I'm a proud Albertan. I live in the small town of Langdon, 20 minutes east of Calgary. I've been with my wonderful husband, Sean, for 20 years, and we have 3 great kids. We are entering into the teenage phase, so all kinds of new horizons there with them. My kids go to an independent faith-based school. These smaller parent-run schools require a significant amount of volunteer contribution. It's a beautiful community. I'm so grateful to send my kids there every day, and I spend a lot of time volunteering there. Together, Sean and I run our business, V3 Engineering Inc. He's the engineer. I do all the finance stuff. We started 4 years ago and have enjoyed significant growth, so we're thankful for this, and that takes up quite a bit of my time as well. I graduated this past April from Queen's University, based in Kingston, Ontario, completing a degree of Bachelor of Health Sciences. I've always loved people and medicine, and there's a huge lack of conservative voices in the medical world. So completing this degree gives me the education to interact in this sphere in an informed manner. My roots are in family values, community spirit. I am a team player, and I bring a fresh perspective and practical mindset to everything I do. Second, my political experience. I began door knocking with Chantal DeYoung, the MLA for my constituency, in 2022 during her nomination. She secured the nomination, and when it came time for the election in 2023, I served as her campaign manager. Chestermere Strathmore is a Conservative stronghold, so our goal wasn't just to win, but to win big, and we did with nearly 70% of the vote. Chantal and I were able to assemble a dynamic and committed group of volunteers to win a decisive victory for the UCP. Since then, I've volunteered as director on the Chestermere Strathmore Constituency Association, building strong local connections and ensuring the voice of the grassroots is heard and uplifted. Finally, a bit about what I believe in and how I would love to operate as secretary. I believe in a united conservative movement. I enjoy speaking with and listening to Albertans of all different sorts, of all different backgrounds and beliefs. Only by talking to each other and appreciating each other's differences can we as Conservatives pull together and be ready to take on Nenshi and the NDP in 2027. I stand firmly behind Premier Danielle Smith's vision for a prosperous Alberta. As Secretary, I want to do everything I can to support Premier Smith and make sure she and our UCP are election ready. I'm running to represent the grassroots. I'm running to ensure our board reflects the values and priorities of our members and not special interests, not internal agendas. The next election, it's going to be tough, and a Nenshi-led government would be an absolute disaster. At the AGM, please vote Stacy Vanderveen. Thanks.
Okay, guys, can you bring Gordon on? Perfect. Gordon, go ahead.
Hello, and thank you for coming out this evening. Also, I'd like to thank Roy and Trena and the Calgary Lougheed Board for allowing me this opportunity to speak with you tonight. My name is Gordon Rainan, and I'd like to be your candidate for board secretary. After completing college and obtaining my CMA which is now the CPA accounting designation, I worked for Budget Car and Truck Rentals of Edmonton as Director of Finance and Administration. For over 20 years, I was both Corporate Secretary and Recording Secretary for several operating and holding companies in Alberta and Saskatchewan. I became involved in politics in 2016 after the NDP defeated the PCs. I've spent 8+ years with 3 different UCP CA boards as CFO, VP membership, VP policy, and twice as local candidate nomination committee chair. I've also been on the party policy and governance committee for 5 years, including 2 as chair of the governance subcommittee. One of the board secretary's responsibilities is to be a member of the PPGC. Having retired in early 2024, I will have plenty of time to devote to the extensive duties of being the board secretary. I'm confident that my education, working career, 9-year UCP volunteer history, and time available to me will suit me well in my efforts as board secretary to continue to make the UCP Alberta's government. I'm asking for your vote as UCP board secretary. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. Daniel?
Thanks so much for coming out this evening. I really appreciate the opportunity to help you decide who you're going to vote for at the AGM. Thanks so much to the CAs that have organized this as well. It really is good to have informed voters. My wife and I live on a farm near Didsbury, where we raised our 3 daughters, and now we cheer on our 3 hockey-playing grandsons. I'm running for the UCP Board Secretary position and ask for your support at the UCP AGM on November the 29th. I grew up on a mixed farm in central Alberta, where I gained firsthand experience in grain production, commercial beef, feedlot and dairy operations. This hands-on background provided me with an invaluable work ethic. In 1986, our family shifted direction and I began my university journey. I earned my Bachelor of Arts honors degree from the University of Calgary, receiving the Coots Family Graduate Award, and then completed my law degree. I was admitted to the Alberta Bar in 1994 and spent the next 3 decades practicing law in central Alberta. As one of the founding partners of MHR Law, my commitment to sharing knowledge extended to the classroom, where I taught agricultural law courses at Olds College for 10 years, and as well as history courses at Rocky Mountain College. I have a proven record of experience both community and within the UCP structure. I'm a founding member of the UCP. I've served as a board member on the Olds Didsbury Three Hills Constituency Association. I've held the role of chairperson of the Olds Didsbury CA Policy Committee. I've been a member of the UCP Policy and Governance Committee. And I saw Ray Strom earlier this evening, and it's good to see Ray back in circulation again. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Ray has done a remarkable job of quarterbacking this Policy and Governance Committee for quite some time now. And I've had the privilege of working with him. It's an extremely demanding process where the committee gathers all of the policy and governance submissions that you have provided. They then work through those to confirm that they actually comply with the principles and the governance documents that are the UCP governance documents. In that process, I began to realize the diversity of our party. And you've heard a number of individuals tonight talk about that diversity. The North-South, the rural-urban, the business versus individuals. And we could go on with respect to the diversity that exists. We've also heard a number of speakers talk about how that diversity can be addressed, how we need to be unified. And several speakers have already talked about the necessity of communication. When I talk about communication, I mean communication that is real, genuine conversation between individuals, between CAs, and between MLAs. I learned very early in my experience as a lawyer that if a lawyer on the other side was not going to have a conversation with me, that was going to be a difficult file and ultimately probably resolved by a judge. I learned that if lawyers would communicate with me, we could have a conversation, we could explore options, we could exchange ideas and work towards a solution. And I think in our party today, we need to work towards a solution. We need to be able to share ideas. We need to be able to have discussions. We need to be able to ask questions, but we need to move towards unity. Again, common theme this evening, unity and communication. I've also had the ability or the opportunity to experience local boards, and they're not going to let me tell you which ones I've served on.
Sorry, Daniel. We have a lot of speakers to get to this evening. And Scott.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming. I am courting the sympathy vote, so if anybody's here a sympathy voter, please vote for Scott Payne. I've been going since about 4:30 this morning. I'm discombobulated. I broke my poppy on the way in. I left my black hat at home, and I'd like to thank Adele for fixing my collar so I didn't look like a total schnook. Thank you all for coming here, and thank you for all of the candidates. Special thanks to Roy and Trena and Calgary Lougheed. But I also like to give a couple thanks to our two presidential candidates. So Darrell, I think it was about a year and a half ago, allowed me to speak about rights and freedoms here, and much appreciated. It's very important. And to our current president, Rob Smith, thank you for your efforts in getting the Black Hats Bill of Rights to the AGM last year. That was huge, much appreciated. There's so many people behind the scenes doing everything from knocking on doors and making the phone calls, printing stuff up, and making policy and governance. And I think we have a great party, and that party is its members. We have a great party policy declaration. I encourage everybody to read it. There's about 58 sections to it. Great policy that should become law. So keep it up. Much appreciated. There are tough times ahead. The world changed, I think, on April 28th. We figured out we're probably not going to see a conservative government again. If we do, it's going to be a government that probably won't be able to do much of anything. We are spending ourselves into debt federally. We have Bill C2, open your mail, Bill C8, kick you off the internet, not just X or Facebook, but banking. Amazon, can you imagine that? Bill C9, maybe throw you in jail for doing memes, just like the UK. So I'm here for unity, for sure, to fight that orange enemy, but our biggest enemy is the Liberal Party of Canada and what they're doing. So if I get enough votes for secretary, I will talk about the elephants in the room, as ugly as they are, because it is important. If we, as John Carpay said, see that bills C2, C8, C9 get passed, he said, we will have a police state by Christmas. And this is the elephant in the room that this party and the Smith government need to deal with. And we've got a perfect storm coming up in the next 2 weeks. If you're a political junkie, I know you're high on crack right now, but it's going to keep coming. It's important stuff. So thanks to everybody for everything, and especially to the boards who supported us the last time. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you all four. Ryan, if we can get Gordon back on. Sheldon has a question. We'll go in the same order. Stacey, we'll go first.
So questions for the secretaries, candidates, is looking ahead to the 2027 provincial election, What do you anticipate will be the biggest challenges facing this role specifically, and how do you plan to address them?
One of the biggest roles of the secretary is communication, record keeping, keeping everyone on track, organized. There is such diversity across this province. We have 89 constituencies that we have to have 89 dynamite candidates for, 89 constituency associations that are well funded and ready to go to work, and a team of volunteers that is engaged and ready to bring people to the doors to elect a UCP government. And that's going to be the role of the whole board, but keeping that communication open and speaking to all the different constituency associations, working with the regional directors to make sure that everybody is on track so that we don't end up with a NDP government. That's my plan.
Gordon, you're next.
I think are going to be vital importance of vital importance, and one is helping that I can assist with, and that's helping communicate party board actions and decisions to the CAs, to the candidates, and potentially to the members. And another one, because I have a bit of an Edmonton background, is working with the donut CAs, as somebody said earlier this evening, about not just funds, but also sharing volunteers. A lot of the donut CAs have tremendous volunteers and volunteer programs, and there are some fairly weak CAs in Edmonton. And we should probably, as the regional directors mentioned, concentrate on the top 5 or top 7 in Edmonton, and hopefully gather all those into the blue sky Edmonton. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. Daniel?
So first of all, working with respect to unifying the party, again, that's a theme that we've heard. We need to be united in order to win. The second would be one member of a team that has to work together to unify the CAs and get 89 good representatives across the province in order to win the next election. Thank you.
There will be lots of issues that will come up, and we will have to work as a team. My background, Army Reserve, and in other organizations like the Legion and Royal United Services Institute, has been in a support role. So I want to follow the direction of the leader, work with the rest of the team, and provide that support. My superpower is typing and spreadsheets. Thank you.
Thank you to all 4 candidates. So we're actually on, even with our technical glitches, we are on track time-wise. Our next group will be the Vice President of Fundraising. Both candidates are here. So I'd invite Darby Ray Crouch and Helen Holder up to the stage. Darby's number 2. Go ahead, Helen.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight with all of you in my hometown of Calgary. My name is Helen Holder, and I am running for VP Fundraising. Alberta is at a critical moment, and I have the experience and determination to help lead our party to a victory in 2027. I am a professional engineer with 17 years of experience in oil and gas, both internationally and locally here at home. I am results-driven. I've managed multi-million-dollar budgets, and as a CA president, I have organized and executed successful community and fundraising events. I bring 4 years of CA board experience and nearly a full season on the PPGC as governance chair. If any of you have been involved in the policy and governance process, you've probably received a few emails from me. Apologies for that. My board experience is broad and hands-on. I spent 3 years on the Calgary Pagan board, 3 years and counting on the Highwood board, supporting RJ Sigurdsson. And just last year, I also stepped up to support our friends Eric Bouchard and Darrell Komick on the Calgary Lougheed board because I support what they're doing. The work they're doing is great work. I've served as Secretary, VP Communications, Director at Large, and now CA President of Highwood. Through all of this, I've gained a deep understanding of the lifeblood of our party, the constituency associations, and the people that drive them. If I have the privilege to serve as your VP fundraising, I will implement a clear plan to exceed our fundraising goals heading into the next election. My plan ensures that all 89 CAs will have the tools and the training that they need so that every VP fundraising can hit the ground running. This toolbox will collect not only my best practices that I've developed, but also the knowledge and successes from our strongest fundraisers across the province. I hear consistently from my peers that we need to do a better job of training our CA boards. I believe every VP on the party board should have a strong committee beneath them. And I will build a dedicated fundraising committee to ensure we maximize our impact. Fundraising cannot happen in silos. It is tied directly to membership, community engagement, and communications. These areas must work together so we can grow our membership, build those lasting relationships, and secure the financial strength to be the most successful party in Alberta's history. We can do this with the right vision and the right leadership and unity across our movement. So my results speak for themselves. I'm an engineer turned passionate volunteer with both corporate and political experience. As a campaign coach, I helped elect 2 new school board trustees this year and supported 2 new councillors to win their seats. Under my leadership, Highwood has already had 2 fundraisers this year with a 3rd planned next month. Last year, we set a record for the highest donations in our CA's history, and we intend to break that record again. I've also co-organized a silent auction for my community hall that raised nearly $12,000. I've taught classes as an entrepreneur and presented in executive boardrooms to drive major projects across the finish line. If you want someone with the drive, discipline, and experience to deliver results in 2027, I am that candidate. I have a strong, actionable fundraising plan. I am a team builder, a principled conservative, and I will always respect the voice of the grassroots. Integrity matters to me, and when difficult decisions come before our board, I will oh, sorry, I see that. I will always choose what is right for our members and for Alberta. I ask for your support on November 29th. Together, we can build a stronger Alberta and bring this home.
I didn't think I'd have to kick Helen off the stage. Darby, if you go over, we got your back.
Well, thank you. And thank you everyone for being here tonight and the CA for putting this together. It's great to see a full room. Before I begin with Remembrance Day being tomorrow, I would like to take a moment to honor the brave members of our armed forces who have served with courage and grace. I especially think of my grandfather, who was a longtime conservative who served in the war, and he stood for those values of liberty and peace. So I'd like to thank all of you who have served or continue to serve, and for your dedication and your sacrifice. Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Darby Crouch, and I am a proud 4th-generation Albertan and granddaughter and daughter of farmers and pipeliners from the Sundre and Rocky Mountain House area. I was raised with a deep respect for the values that built this province: hard work, personal responsibility, and the promise of opportunity. Those values aren't just a part of Alberta's history, they're the foundation of its future, and I carry them into everything I do. I'm a proud MacEwan graduate with a degree in communications, and I've built my career around strategic messaging, crisis response, and policy. I served as press secretary to the Minister of Agriculture and Irrigation, where I worked to elevate the voices of our producers, rural communities, and industry leaders.
while pushing back against federal policies that threaten Alberta's autonomy and economic future. I've also had the courage, as many of you know in this room, to step up when it counted, and I ran against Nahad Ninchi in the Edmonton Strathcona by-election. Thank you. It was a tough fight, but it was one worth taking on because standing up for Alberta values always is. I'm asking for your support to serve as VP of Fundraising for the United Conservative Party Board, because if Conservatives want to protect Alberta's future, we need the resources to fight and to win. Fundraising isn't just about dollars, it's about discipline, purpose, and ensuring our candidates and campaigns have the tools they need to compete and to make sure every corner of this province has a voice in the movement to keep Alberta strong and free. I believe in this party, I believe in this province, and I believe that when we work together with unity, focus, and conviction, that there's nothing Alberta can't achieve. This AGM, I hope I earn your support. Let's fund the fight, strengthen our party, and keep the promise of Alberta alive for generations to come. Thank you.
Okay, so the question that we have for the VP fundraising candidates. There are a number of big ticket events surrounding the premier that naturally attract large dollar donations, which is great for the party. However, those events can often be out of reach for many families and the grassroots supporters. What kind of fundraising initiatives or community-based events would you propose to not only engage major donors, but also include and energize the supporters at the local constituency level, encouraging both participation and contribution?
Thank you for that question. So first, I will equip the CA boards, as I've mentioned, for success immediately after the AGMs by sharing a comprehensive toolbox and expanding on our existing online hub. So CAs will need to have practical tools, and we'll provide those with that toolbox. I want to be able to reach out to all those CAs immediately after they're in place, so they can just hit the ground running. So everything from fundraisers to large-scale fundraising events, we want to give them the skills to be able to hold all sorts of events, because we need to build up that membership to start with, and then we can build those relationships and then work our way to fundraising. So it's all integrated. Second, we need stronger engagement with immigrant communities in those big hubs of Calgary and Edmonton, of course. As the daughter of two immigrants with both Egyptian and European heritage, I can authentically connect with those communities. I also have international experience, which gives me insight into different cultures, and I've lived both rurally and in the city. So I grew up in Calgary for most of my life and moved out to Highwood area to a little acreage almost 4 years ago now. So I have real connections with both sides of that, and I will bring those insights and perspectives so that we can really connect with people across the province.
Good.
One of those moments.
Yeah, it's okay. I think it's important that we modernize how we fundraise by re-engaging with our donors who maybe have gone quiet, and connecting every dollar to a purpose, whether it's with local campaigns, digital tools, or member outreach. I would also work closely with the VP of Communications to ensure that we're telling the story to our donors, or so our donors want to invest in us. A united, confident party is financially strong, and we're focused. We're not only ready to win, but we're also ready to defend. The NDP thinks that they have union backing, but we have grassroots, and that's the foundation that has built us. So I think that keeping those things in mind are important, and while equipping our CAs as well. Thank you.
Thank you to both of you. Appreciate you coming out. We have found Andre Grandin. So Andre is running for Edmonton Director. So we'll give him an opportunity to introduce himself.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for having me here. We've had a little bit of technical difficulties, but I'm glad I was able to make it. So I'm running for director of Edmonton because we desperately need a change here in Edmonton. I'm a father of two school-age kids, football coach, hunter, business owner, a taxpayer, and a United Conservative member, and we really need to start working right now to see the change that we want to see in 2027 here. We've got a lot of work to do. The other day at an event, Brian Jean was talking about kind of the M&Ms of politics, those being money and memberships, and how essential those are to the success of a party. And for me, what I believe our CA, our Edmonton director, needs to work on is the C and C's, the communication and coordination between our CAs, so that we can ensure that they have their M&Ms in order for when election time comes, so we can have a fighting chance at taking back a couple seats in Edmonton. So why I think I'm qualified for this? I originally studied economics and geology. I worked as a geologist all over Canada, from the Arctic to the East Coast to the West Coast, and eventually settled out here in Edmonton, where our family now lives and goes to school and participates in everything. And desperately, we need change. Like, too many of us kind of sit back, and many people that I've seen, they kind of take a passive approach to politics, and then you have exactly what we have here in Edmonton, which is a completely orange city. And the school, our school boards and all of our kind of civic, life is occupied by the other side and the other people that have decided to get involved. And so why I'm running is we have an opportunity to take a lot of these ridings back if we're properly organized and we work together. So I hope to get your guys' vote. And if you guys check out my website, I know I'm a little bit scrambled here tonight, but if you take a look at my website, andregrondin.ca, and if you have any questions, I would encourage you guys to reach out directly to me. There's a contact link on there, and I'll be happy to take a call with any one of you and kind of explain further what I'm about and kind of what my plan is to hopefully take back some of the seats here in the city and kind of allocate our resources properly here. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Andre. I'm glad we were able to connect with you. I think we'll give you we're still running ahead of schedule, so I'll give you the opportunity to answer Sheldon's question.
Perfect. All right, so as it stands, Edmonton remains entirely represented by NDP MLAs. Not a single UCP seat in the city. Meanwhile, the surrounding blue rural ridings form a solid blue conservative blue donut. Blue, 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 blue. Blue, 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 blue. Given the dynamic, what is your plan specifically to win back seats in Edmonton and rebuild meaningful support for the UCP within the city?
So I've door knocked in Edmonton, in tons of elections here, municipal, federal, provincial, and my plan is our messaging and our strategy in Edmonton needs to be kind of adjusted for our audience here in Edmonton. As a strong conservative, both social and fiscal, those types of messaging may not resonate with some of the folks that live within the city in Edmonton. And so we need to kind of focus our emphasis on what resonates with our crowd here in the city, which happens to be things like fiscal responsibility, fiscal accountability, and kind of giving folks value for their money in terms of their tax dollars. So that's kind of where I see some room to expand our approach here. And it's also our coordination. We get so divided with, amongst our different brands of conservatism. We need to sit down and kind of unite and say, we're on the same team here, and sometimes egos may need to kind of take a bit of a backseat at certain times, but we really need to get our vote united and together in order to win, because the other side, they don't really they don't discriminate amongst each other. They all kind of support this, whatever it is that they are, believing in. We need to do the same thing on our side and kind of get everybody on the same, on the same team here and work together as one team rather than splintered up into these little groups where we fight amongst each other and then the other side takes over because of our lack of organization and coordination. So that's where I hope to make improvements and see gains in the city here.
Thank you, Andre. Look forward to seeing you in Edmonton soon.
And like I said, reach out on my website there. You guys can get a hold of me with any questions you might have, and I hope to connect with you up here in Edmonton.
Thank you. Okay, so right on time. We'll invite Pam Davidson and Samantha Stanky to the stage. Both ladies are running for Vice President of Communications. So Pam will go first and Samantha will follow.
Well, good evening, friends. My name is Pam Davidson. I'm running for Vice President of Communications for the United Conservative Party. Communication is how we connect the work. Sorry, not quite close enough. Good. Is that better? A little bit closer. Should I start again or just go?
Just go.
Okay. Communication is how we connect the work our party out. How the work of our party. Sorry, now I got discombobulated. Connect the work of our party with the people we serve. It is how we defend our record, share our vision, tell our story, tell the story of a province that excels because of the people who built it. In today's political climate, where the left-wing radical deliberately misinform, twisting the truth to undermine our effectiveness, we need a voice that's steady, principled, and trusted. That is the kind of communicator that I have been and I will be for our party. I got involved a decade ago because I knew that if we wanted to beat the NDP, we needed to unite. And I knew that to stay united, we must build a party based on principles of freedom, the very foundation of Alberta's success. That is exactly why I ran for the Senate. During the lost COVID years, while others retreated, I visited 57 communities. I met with local councils, small business owners, and families who just wanted to be heard. Those conversations reminded me of why I first put my name forward, because Albertans are resilient, hardworking people who expect their party to fight for them, not against them. When Albertans gave me over 380,000 votes in the Senate election, more votes than any other woman in Canadian electoral history, I take that as a mandate to keep standing up for this province. That vote was not just for me, it was for Alberta's voice, our future, and our right to be treated with respect inside Confederation. Unfortunately, that is not being the case. I see that every day. My husband, Gary Davidson, and I live with our family where we've raised our 4 kids, and now we're blessed to be growing a group of grandkids who remind us every day why this work matters. Some of you will recall my husband's fight for the accountability during COVID-19 era and the report he chaired. I stood with him through all of this, and we continue to stand together for accountability and freedom. Life on a farm, yeah. Life on the farm teaches you a few things. Work hard, stay humble, and never walk away from a challenge. Those lessons have guided me through every chapter of my life as a wife, a mom, a community member, and a candidate. This is a life and a province I am fighting to protect. The MDP and their allies in Ottawa have built a loud, coordinated misinformation campaign, and when they win when Albertans are confused, misled, fired up for the wrong reasons. They win when we are divided. Sorry, my time is up. Thank you, and I'm principled. Thank you. Well, I'm back. Samantha Stanky. So I want to let you know, first of all, who I am. I'm a volunteer, I'm a communicator, and I'm an Albertan. Most importantly, I'm a mom. I have 4 kids at home who are watching, who I said I would say hello to. So hello, children. Make sure you go to bed and don't give dad a hard time. I've served in this role and I'm seeking re-election. I've been in this role for 3 years. And to think about where I started and where I've come, it's night and day. Am I perfect? No. Have we gotten everything right? Absolutely not. And the things that we have gotten right have not been done by me alone. They've been done by you. They've been done by the members that have shown up and they've demanded to be a part of what happens in our party. And that has become our greatest strength in our party. You, the members, have become exactly what our movement needs. Some of the accomplishments I want to talk about tonight are the UCP hub that I created with our executive director and our communications team for constituency associations to utilize the tools in there for social media, for fundraising, and all sorts of other things. A couple other initiatives that are new on there, our new 12-week conservative values campaign. Please check it out. I hope to see a bunch of CAs using it soon on social media. This year, I also created 3 new awards that will be showcased at our AGM, so look forward to those. One of my greatest accomplishments on this board has been traveling this province in the last couple of months on our youth initiative. So we have 2 young girls here this evening, actually. They helped you get in the door, Macy and Madison Holmes. They competed in our youth debates, which happened on Zoom, and they will be featured, or well, Macy will be featured live on stage at our AGM, debating other youth from across the province. So stay tuned and look forward to that. So I want to talk about, we've talked about where we started, where we've gone, and now I want to talk about where we're going. There are a lot of things coming down the pipe over the next couple years. We have nominations, we have a boundary review, and the political climate is only going to intensify from here. I've been through all of those things already, and I want to go through them again. Call me crazy, but I know that I've got the skills and I know that I have what is necessary to get through these next couple years. I'm ready to bring us to victory in 2027. I'm ready to defeat the NDP, and I'm ready to make Alberta a great place to live and a great place to raise a family. I have a bold plan if I'm reelected, so please check out my flyer. They're out on the table. I've also given some out to some of you about my priorities over the coming years. But tonight I want to leave you with a message. You know me and I know you. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'm unapologetically conservative and even more unapologetically devoted to you, the members. And this has never been about me. It's always been about you. So on November 29th, if you re-elect me, it will continue to be about you.
Okay, so the question that we have for our VP of Communications candidates is, what is your plan to communicate conservative values in a way that resonates with younger or undecided voters who may not identify as conservative yet?
That's a great question. Since I have 4 young adult children, I guess I should have a little bit of knowledge of how to communicate with them, or at least I hope to. I think the first and most important thing is to listen to them, listen to where they're at, and to find out what matters to them. What do they need to hear to understand, help them understand what it is to be conservative, why they should vote conservative, what it does for our province to go forward. I'll build trust with them, and I'll equip them with the tools that they need to communicate with their friends and their family in case they don't live in a family that has conservative values. Yeah. Thanks.
So as mentioned, I've already started doing this work. I have traveled the province. I've been in Grand Prairie, Lethbridge, Calgary, Edmonton, Bonnyville, meeting with youth across this province. And I can tell you that the future is bright. The things that that they want to talk about are the things that we're already talking about. And even for youth and non-youth alike who aren't sure if they're conservative, there are a couple messages that we can bring to them. Who can spend your money better, you or the government? Doesn't matter what you are, the government can't spend your money as well as you can. So that's something that'll definitely bring them onto our side. It's talking about those shared values. It's talking about the things that we agree on. It's bringing people to the table with common sense conservative values. It's why people elected us in the last election, and it's why people will elect us in the next one.
Okay, so because we're ahead of schedule here a little bit, we're going to have one more question that's going out to the VP of Communications. And what changes or improvements do you believe are needed within this role to better empower the VP of Communications to be more effective in delivering clear, consistent, and engaging messaging for the party? We'll take the same order.
Clear, consistent messaging from the party to the people. Is that right? Consistent messaging to, yeah, for the party. Yeah, sorry. I believe in social media. I believe that's a big, I mean, we have lots of podcasters here that engage with many people in Alberta. And I really think that the young people are going to those platforms more and more. And I think that they are an incredible opportunity that is open and able to help us to better communicate with the people that aren't watching CNN and CBC and our other non-conservative outlets.
So there are a couple things that I think we can do. One thing that I think is going to be very important. So I have just submitted a new terms of reference for the VP of Communications role that this new board will take a look at. What it does is it empowers the role of the VP of Communications. Currently, we have a system set up where the president is the spokesperson of our party. Everything kind of flows through the president. My new terms of reference will actually empower the VP of Communications along with that committee to get out there, to do more work, to be more involved, and to have the ability to actually get things done. So I look forward to that being passed and being able to implement some new and exciting things.
Thank you, ladies. So that brings us to the end of, what have we done, 5, 8? We've got one more to go, but we're going to take a 5-minute break. We are ahead of schedule. Actually, you can even have 6 minutes. It's a stretch break. Well, they might need the washroom, Roy, but we'll let them do whatever they want.
Welcome to Calgary Lloyd's Cowtown Showdown.
Introduce yourself to your neighbor.
Where the West rides tall and Alberta stands first. Hear the Bow River whisper beneath the steel, where mountains bow to the plains appeal. Calgary rises steady and unrehearsed, a city that breathes Alberta first. And now the band takes the stand, boots tap time across the land. Voices lift in dust and sound, it's Cowtown Showdown. Gather round. Oh, province born of fire and frost, your people rise, no dream is lost. From Lougheed's law to the Bow bright burst, sing Alberta, Alberta first. Let the trumpet call through the mountain air, let the echo ride proud and fair. The spirit strong, the wind rehearsed, sing together. Alberta first.
Not for crowns nor foreign hand, but for the strength of prairie land, where neighbors meet and voices blend. We'll hold the line
until the end. In the heart of the West, where freedom's nursed, we raise our song. Alberta first. Let the choirs of Cowtown cheer through Bow River's crystal tear. In Calgary, Lougheed, the people first. Cowtown Showdown. Alberta first.
Cowtown Showdown.
Okay, if I could ask you to take
Welcome
your
to
seats,
Calgary
we're going to get
Lloyd's
going.
Cowtown Showdown.
We've got a
Where the West
9:35
rides tall
hard
and
stop,
Alberta
so we'd like to
stands
get as
first.
much conversation in as possible.
Hear the Bull River whisper beneath the steel, where mountains bow to the plains appeal. Calgary rises steady and unrehearsed.
If you don't take your seats, I'm going to start singing, and that's not going to be good for anybody.
Welcome to Calgary Lloyd's Cowtown Showdown. Where the West rides
Angie is not clapping. She's heard me sing.
Oh, hey, Laura.
Yep.
So make sure when you wrap it up, say, oh, no, I can wrap it up. Gate closes at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, because otherwise they'll linger.
Yeah.
Ray, or Roy, I think you should come. You'll know when we're done. I think you should come.
Yeah.
Okay, please take your seats. We're going to have lots of time to chat afterwards. Those of you that are heading to the Bull and Finch, all the candidates are heading there, and we can continue on the conversation. I am going to, when they're done speaking, I'm going to pull this thing back because it's cutting off their view. Okay. Yep. No, we'll draw. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, welcome back. We are going to do the same draw and find out who's going to speak first. Format will be 7 minutes for, and these guys can talk. You all know that. Two of my favorite people on the stage. So we're going to draw and go in that order. So Rob drew number 2, so Darrell will speak first. We're going to use the podium for their 7-minute speeches, and then we're going to pull this back and just sit and have a chat. Come on up.
Aloha! Good evening. Welcome to the 3rd annual Cowtown Showdown. We are so glad that you are here. And just my one moment of being the president of Calgary Lougheed, I just want to thank the incredible team who did this entire thing without phoning me once. It's fantastic. To our technical crew, you have to realize that we like to push the envelope just a little bit every time. And we were doing things today that were technically impossible, yet we have 2 of the finest technical engineers up in that booth right now, solving problems on the go. I certainly would like your vote as president of the provincial UCP board. There is no doubt. I am unabashed, conservative. More importantly, I have 4 priorities. My first priority is Alberta first. My second priority is member-centric. My third priority is unity of our party. And the fourth priority is being election ready. Now let me talk about each one of those, because I think what's important is that you understand where I come from. I am not a wallflower. And as Rob told me tonight, this might be the most conservative shirt he's ever seen me wear. It is actually true. It is the most conservative shirt that I own. But I need you to know that when I say unity, I feel that I'm on a bit of a rescue mission for the Premier and the leadership of the party. I feel that there is a large group of grassroots Albertans, conservatives, who feel unheard. And I saw it last year at the AGM. While there was a tremendous effort and an amazing effort to talk about the Alberta Bill of Rights, I thought that that message did not make its way to government. So my theme, of course, is to be your voice to government. That's essential. What does it mean to be Alberta first? Well, when I was talking today on a podcast with Jason Levine, he says to me, well, Darrell, you mean separatist. I says, no, I don't mean separatist. I mean Alberta first. Calgary Lougheed was the only CA in all of Alberta that wanted to create a framework for a sovereign Alberta within United Canada. In doing so, we asked a cross-section of people to come up and present their views. And one of them's here tonight, Ben Trudeau. He wrote Canada First, which was an amazing framework for the 28 areas that Alberta needs to do in order to be sovereign within the United Canada. And then we have the great work. I see Jeff Rath over there and the team from the Alberta Prosperity Project who wrote The Value of Freedom. And when you go to our website at couragetolisten.ca, we created an 81-page book, which was a framework for a sovereign Alberta with or without Canada, because we think Albertans need to understand the information. So when you ask me, am I on side one way or the other? Certainly I have my own personal opinion, and I feel that $70 billion is a lot of money to spend for the services that we get from the federal government. I think it's clear we can do better. And there was only one reason, I'll tell you tonight, that I'm running, because I understood that there was going to be a discussion on sovereignty at the AGM, and that didn't happen. It fell off the agenda. So I had a long chat with Rob. I said, Rob, you know I'm going to run. He says, yeah, Darrell, I know you're going to run. And it's not like Rob and I are blue, okay? But you have to realize that if I were a dog, and I love my dog, Susie. If I were a dog, I would be a German Shepherd. A little bit of bite, a little bit testy, fiercely conservative. And certainly, I feel that I represent the ability, because we walk the talk, my wife and I, we run a small business. We have enough immigrants there to represent 26 countries from around the world. So we see immigration, the good side of it, and we see the bad side of it every day. And we understand produce. We understand the cost of food. So when you see media people tell you that food price inflation has gone up 7%, that is a lie. It's 13 to 25%. And why do I know? Because I know the wholesale cost of food. And I'm not pretending we're importing stuff from all over the world. I'm talking about creating a sustainable Alberta economy using Alberta products, and that's essential. And that makes me Alberta first. And I believe in everything that is true and great and blue about our country and about Alberta in 1982. Because that's the last time we really had common sense. And it's painful. You know, we even have immigrants who come to us and say, you know, I heard Irma make a comment. It's not the same country that it was. And it's going to get worse. Okay, and I hate to say that. I mean, we're talking about politics. Someone's going to amplify my message. They're going to say the wrong thing. The Supreme Court votes 5-4 to not have minimum sentences on people who possess child pornography. Does that sound like something that in Alberta we should control? You know, I watch the ostriches get slaughtered. Is that the kind of Alberta that we want? So being Alberta first means that we bring back common sense. We realize that in Alberta, we are conservative. We have a common belief, faith, family, freedoms, free enterprise, fiscal accountability. And of course, because of the wealth that we create and the ability that we have to have singular thought, multiple thoughts, we don't have to say the same thing. We don't have to be all on the same song page. We have amazing resources, and we believe in charity and helping those in need. Those are 6 amazing Alberta values, and I think those are the values that most conservatives have across Alberta. So we all have something in common, and I hear about the rural-urban divide. I mean, I deal with 275 local producers, and I sell products to people in the city. Is there a rural-urban divide? No. There is a lack of unity. And I believe that unity means that the party needs to speak, and that those MLAs whom we help get elected should be listening. And of course, the idea of election readiness in Calgary-Lougheed, we have a strategic plan. That plan says we will knock on doors every second weekend. We will identify 10,000 voters. We will be ready. We will know who will vote for Eric Bouchard in Calgary-Lougheed before the election, and that's how you win. You outwork the opposition. And for all these great things that is our United Conservative Party, I ask you to vote for me as your next president for the provincial board.
He's always such a tough act to follow. Of course, Calgary-Lougheed people know Calgary-Lougheed has a real soft spot in my heart. I have a soft spot in my heart for Calgary-Lougheed. To Trenna, to Roy, to all the volunteers from Calgary-Lougheed for making this event happen. To Darrell as kind of the founder of the feast who makes all of these, whether it's a little bit of an injection of truth or whether it's the courage to listen. We appreciate the degree to which Calgary-Lougheed and Darrell and his crew lead the conservative movement in the province. So I want to ask for a round of applause for all of that. Good evening, friends. Alberta's strength has always come from its people, families, farmers, small business owners, and workers who believe in freedom, hard work, and opportunity. That independent spirit is what keeps this province strong. We don't wait for someone else to solve our problems. We roll up our sleeves, we build, we grow, and we protect what we've earned. 2 years ago, when you elected me as UCP president, I made one promise, that this party would always belong to its members, not to insiders or factions. And regardless of what you've read on Substack or wherever, I have maintained 100% commitment to that, and I always will. Together, we've opened the doors of our party, brought greater accountability, and made sure every member's voice is heard. Because this party belongs to the people who build it. People like all of you. People like the folks up here. Now, as we look toward 2027, our job couldn't be clearer. The NDP wants to take Alberta backward with higher taxes, more government control, and less freedom for families and businesses. And we can't let that happen. We believe in Alberta's spirit of independence, in our right to make our own decisions, build our own province, and decide our future without asking for permission from Ottawa. The time for Alberta sovereignty is now. And we have a premier who is absolutely fighting for Alberta sovereignty, and a party that you make up the voices of that is 100% committed to Alberta sovereignty. And thank you so much for your commitment to that. This next election isn't about politics, it's about defending Alberta's future. Prophetic comment, maybe the funeral of the nation, definitely not Alberta's funeral. Our freedom to decide our own path, our right to grow our economy our way, and our responsibility to protect what makes this province strong. We can only do that if we stay united. When conservatives stand together, and Irma said it really well, we've heard it from a lot of people, when we listen to one another and when we focus on what we share instead of what divides us, we win every time. I'm running for re-election as your UCP president because I believe in this movement and in what we've built together. But most of all, I believe in you. I believe in all of you, the members who make this party and the province what it is. Together, we'll stand with Premier Danielle Smith, we'll defeat the NDP, and we'll keep Alberta's future where it belongs, in Alberta's hands. Thank you for your trust, your support, and everything you do to keep Alberta moving forward. Now, we talk a lot about the elephant in the room. I'm going to address the elephant in the room. If you've heard I'm weak, if you've heard I'm a shill, if you've heard that I don't stand up for the members of this party, I want to suggest to you, I stood on the steps of the ledge alongside my friends Samantha and Jack Redekop, who's on our provincial board and is here now, and Patrick Malkin and Vicky Kosmak-Lafrenz, and we said, party board, you got to quit, and premier, you got to quit. And a year ago, when a group of grassroots conservatives said, this is what our Bill of Rights should be, and we heard from our premier that there was going to be a Bill of Rights, I took that Bill of Rights to our provincial board, we endorsed it, and we fought for it. And I think that, thank you. And I think that MLA Bouchard would say that I have stood in front of the caucus and not necessarily been the most popular person in the room. And I think I stood my ground. I actually had Sonia Egisamu and Ranjit Bath come and stand beside me, and I was so focused on what was going on that I didn't even realize they were there. They said, we thought you needed a little support. I am not afraid to stand up for what our members believe. And every vote I have ever made, everything our board has ever done has been 100% about the best interests of this movement, of keeping us united and ensuring that we're going to win in 2027. Now, I have a little piece of paper that I'd like you all to grab. It's out there in the hallway. It focuses on liberty, unity, victory. And part of that unity is we've had a lot of talk tonight about unity, but we have to recognize that there are things that bring us together and there are things that bring us apart. And there are some things that I am really comfortable supporting the members of the provincial board who have said, we can't actually have a position on this as a party because it will split us as a party until Albertans have told us what our position should be. And that's why the Alberta Prosperity Project, their job was to get people to support the Alberta pension plan, and they did it. When people said it couldn't happen, APP proved them wrong, and they made it happen. If our Alberta is actually going to have a referendum on independence that's going to lead to a positive decision on what would be the Mitch Sylvester question as opposed to the other non-constitutional question, it's going to have to come from APP. And if our party takes a position on that, we stand to risk that decision not going the way that our party members want it to. Because there are people who will oppose the United Conservative Party just because we're the United Conservative Party. But if they listen to Mitch and they listen to the APP people, they might be convinced. Because he did it on APP, he can do it on independence. Together, we'll stand with Premier Danielle Smith, protecting our freedoms and keep Alberta's future where it belongs, in Alberta's hands. Our job is to stay united, focused, and ready to win in 2027. My name is Rob Smith. I'm running for re-election to keep this movement strong, united, and winning in Edmonton, in Calgary, and the rest of the province in October 2027. Please continue to support me for consistency, unity, and strong, effective leadership. You know, a couple of years ago, sitting on this stage with Darrell moderating us, I was running against my friend Jack Redekop. And Jack and I never said a foul word against one another. I will never. I think we were great friends before that. I think we're perhaps even better friends now. I would say that in terms of an outcome for Darrell and I, the only thing that comes out of this is we end up probably respecting each other and being better friends even going forward. And I consider him a pretty great friend right now. So just
say. It's funny. I mean, Rob and I are shades of blue. We're conservative blue. We're slightly different shades of blue. I tend to be a little more assertive, and I'm a little more immediate. And I think, you know, when Rob and I engage on some complicated things like injection of truth, it's true. We had a vision as Calgary Lougheed to really go out there and explain this whole idea of COVID and vaccines. And I mean, Dr. Biren Bridle, who was working on the fight right now for the ostriches, it's sad. But we have some of the best talent in all of the world in Canada and even in Alberta. So when we put the idea forward that we were going to do this injection of truth, I mean, lots of people ran the other way. I mean, lots. But the board said, you know, we based it on party policy. And the board said, we endorse what you're going to do. So that whole idea of being able to have a conversation, and I think that's for me essential, is that we need to be able to engage in difficult conversations, whether about social media, whether about children, whether about teaching, whether it's about vaccines, whether it's about independence. And without having those conversations, we get this sort of elephant in the room all the time. It just kind of builds and builds and builds, and then it blows up. And I think that might be what's different about the party. The party is willing to have the dialogue. I watch it build up in the government. And for me, that's the part I have the most frustration with, is that what I think, maybe Rob, you can speak to this, is there is a very difference between the party and the government. And the values of our members that are here tonight, you know, they're strong. I mean, I watch the policies coming forward. They're well written, they're well thought out, they're provocative, they show leadership, they show defense. But what I don't see sometimes, and you know, we differ on our approach on this, is how to engage the caucus to be more like the party, because they are the UCP caucus. And I'm confused, and no one can really answer this question for me. Why is it that our caucus members tend to think conservative at election, and then they allow this creep of socialist and liberal ideas into governance? Rob, what do you think of that?
There was a great line that was used in American politics a few years ago, that politicians always campaign in poetry and they govern in prose. And I think that's actually a little bit what you're talking about. But I think that sometimes, Darrell, we need to be, and perhaps this isn't going to be a super popular comment to make to a number of you that are more enamored with immediate action, but we have the luxury as members of the United Conservative Party that we have a pretty homogenous mindset on a lot of stuff. When we talk about freedom, when we talk about fiscal conservatism, when we talk about faith and all the things that Eric Bouchard mentioned before, we're all in agreement on that. I don't even really think there's shades of blue on that, Darrell. But where we can have that homogeneity because we are so consistent in our values. Our MLAs face election from a much broader base of values and opinions and thoughts, some of which truly believe that conservatism is close to evil, close to the devil, that it's about hate and it's about discriminating. And that's truly where so many people who are what the Premier would refer to, and I think Fox News referred to, as low information voters. And so when our elected officials say, I can't sell that, and we've heard that from a lot of MLA Bouchard's colleagues that sit in caucus, they couldn't do what Calgary Lougheed does. I know there's some people who think that's because they're not trying hard enough. But Darrell, I can't believe that that's the case. I believe that those folks do, those MLAs and those CA presidents, they know their people as well. Perhaps you've elevated people in Calgary Lougheed to a place, and it's happened in other places too, where they're not just willing to accept, but willing to embrace and be excited about an injection of truth and the courage to listen. But it's not everyone at that level. And I think we have to be respectful of that.
But I think, you know, really what happens if we don't elevate the conversation, sorry, there is moderators, I'm sorry.
I think they expected this, Darrell.
Yeah.
Well, they said you've already answered the first two questions, so
okay.
I was moving on to number 4 already.
Okay. But this is where I disagree, Rob. And I think what happens is that engagement that has to happen on the CA level, you know, we need to know 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 voters. You know, you need to knock on those doors. You need to identify that voter. You need to know who they are. And if you know who they are, where they are, you can talk to them. And if you're sitting on the sidelines and you're saying, look, well, you know, the leader is going to save us with her aerial attack during the campaign, or the last 6 months of grafting that's going to get shelled out to potential NDP ridings that they might vote conservative. They are not voting conservative. NDP people are not voting conservative, right? Because they talk with one voice, they think with one thought, and they don't really allow for the lively conversation that you and I are having about ideas and about the province and about innovation and about, you know, what does it mean to actually be able to help people that need help in a real way? Or what does it really mean for kids to be educated in a school and understand who is actually responsible for that? Is that the school board? Is that the government? You know, like, where does that accountability lie? Yes, maybe conservatives are willing to have that conversation, but everyone should want to have this conversation, because these are rich conversations that really make Alberta stronger.
100% that's true. However, when you talked about the NDP people, I actually don't believe there are that many NDP people in Alberta. I believe that Alberta is a conservative province. I think Edmonton is a conservative city. I know that we say this is the government city. This is where the bureaucrats live. The Krats, someone I was visiting with today, we're talking about. But in the end, I mean, look how they vote federally. They vote conservative federally. So Edmonton is a conservative city too. But we need to be able to, and one of my fellow candidates, not for president, but in one of the other positions, talked about connecting with Albertans with their language. If you're talking to a dog, don't talk about carrots, right? Was it Jody Gateman, I think, mentioned that? I thought it was really cool. And I think that that's really important. So the work that I tasked Jack with, and then Jack got together with a group of people, a couple of them are in the room, on our election readiness. You were on the committee. We had you on the committee. Yeah. And then you guys put together the strategy that we ultimately as a board approved in the spring. There's an Edmonton strategy, there's a Calgary strategy, there's actually even a differentiated strategy for North, Central, and South, because every place is different. And even within Calgary, what flies in Northeast and what flies down in Southwest are different. The topics are different. The talking points are different. Our folks that actually ran for city council would be probably really beneficial in being able to work with us on that. So we need to be able to talk to people who don't identify as NDP, they don't identify as conservatives, they are just Albertans, and they want something safe and that they can get behind and support them and make their lives better. We all know that's conservatism, but they might be scared to think that's conservatism.
But conservatism is really 6 key principles. I mean, I think Albertans should believe that they should put Alberta first. I mean, my wife has a great analogy, okay? She sees 2 grain cars, and there's 2 rats. And one grain car has very little bit of grain in it, and that's where the 2 rats are, okay? And that says Canada. And then on the other grain car, it's full, right? And it says Alberta. And, you know, for people who want entitlements, I mean, they need to switch grain cars. They need to get on the train. So I would think that the idea of putting Alberta first should appeal to everybody. I mean, how can it not appeal to people who come here with their families for a better family, for a better job, for a better career, and not want to put Alberta first?
Darrell, what the majority of people care about the most and what they want to put first is themselves.
Ouch.
It's fact. I don't think that's wrong. I think that's how most people think. So when we get into the discussion of are you for Canada or are you for Alberta, the vast majority of Albertans, the vast majority of people anywhere will say, I'm putting myself first. And I think that's base. That's realistic.
But is that the deterioration of community if it's always self first?
Oh, I think it's always been this way. People will put their families first and they'll look out for themselves. They know that when their community is better off, their families are better off. But our people don't think about that in terms of political terms. That's why I think that it's important that we be able to talk to Calgarians, to talk to Edmontonians, to talk to people from all across the province, even though we are conservatives, that we talk to them at their level, with their language, and we say, these are the things that we offer that will connect with you.
I got it.
And with a lot of those folks, so many of the things that you value in Calgary Lougheed, they don't value.
You know what? But conservatism is the language of love.
Well, and we know that, but boy, that's a well-kept secret.
It is.
Like this room knows that.
Okay, I think they got a question for us.
Okay, there was never any fear that you guys would be able to fill the time allotment, but there were some people that put together some questions. You've answered, I think, 3 of them. Sheldon?
Yeah. So now here's going to be a big one because it is the elephant in the room. So we are expecting an independence vote in 2026. Is anybody disillusioned on that? Like, we all believe it's coming.
Premier's been pretty forthright that that's coming.
So
Thank you,
are
Thomas Suskazek.
Are you committed to respecting the will of the majority, whatever the outcome of that vote? And how do you plan to ensure that commitment is upheld within the party?
I agree with upholding the will of the majority, and how to do that within the party. I think the party represents a great cross-section of Alberta. I think the members who will go to the AGM represent a cross-section of the party. So therefore, I think that will is the will of the people, and whatever that outcome was going to be, I think that's a reasonable expectation of any political party to accept the will of the people, because we will accept the will of our members.
Bonnie and Max actually asked me this question, and so there's actually, you can find it on social media. I have long stood by the fact that the day after that election, that referendum takes place, if the referendum decision is yes, Alberta wants to become independent by a vote of 50% plus one, I will convene, if I am the president of the party, our board of directors to actually call a special general meeting where we will put a question together that we will then take to the entirety of our membership, not at a special general meeting that's held in a central location, not at an annual general meeting, with a ballot box in every single one of our 87 or 89, depending on where we're at in terms of that cycle, constituency associations, where we ask every single member of our party to weigh in on this, because that is such a fundamental question. I actually don't think that a vote at an annual general meeting or a special general meeting in person is right. We want to take that vote to our members across the country, from deep southwest Alberta to deep northeast Alberta, and get every single one of them to weigh in. And they will decide then if UCP becomes an independence party based on that referendum.
But you know, Rob, the challenge with that logic is this. If the vote is yes for independence, if the UCP votes no, it's no longer relevant. Therefore, in order to maintain its relevance, we need to engage in the conversation in a respectful way. And certainly the way that we've done it in Lougheed is to say, within the framework of United Canada, until someone tells us otherwise. And we had Plan B without that, because we need to be relevant the whole time in the whole conversation from beginning to end. And I like the idea of a vote, but the tricky part with the vote at that point in time is Alberta's already declared that it wants independence. So are we saying that the party in of itself doesn't want that, or is that more to validate what we already know?
When you talk about whether we remain valid or not, that's for our members to decide. We are what our members want us to be. And so at that point, if the majority of Albertans have spoken, I suspect we know what our party will say, but by then we will be able to be talking about what that framework looks like, and we'll be invited by the rest of Alberta to actually have that conversation. It's not us trying to preclude a referendum outcome, which I think actually is a way to actually undermine the success of that referendum question going the way that so many of our members want it to.
Okay, we're down to the last 2 minutes. What else do you want to say?
What's Plan B?
Well, I think there's always a Plan B, and sometimes in politics you don't know what the Plan B is until you're at the gate. And then when you're at the gate, you can deal with Plan B. But until then, we can't overly speculate either, because that just gives fodder to the fire.
Premier has said we are not, well, I've said, we've all said, we are not an independence party. We're not. We don't have a mandate for that. Premier is not the leader of an independence government. There is no mandate for that. We need to rely on our Albertans to tell us who we are. And in the case of the United Conservative Party, I am 100% committed to listening to our entire big tent. I hate the term, but I'm not sure what else to use, for our membership to tell us who we are. But something that I think is important, and Darrell said it, and I entirely agree. It has been said that only freedom-minded people go to our AGM, and that you cannot take, in fact, we've actually had some sitting MLAs who we know have said, you cannot take the face of the party by who shows up at the AGM. We had almost over 5,000 people there last year. There's going to be over 4,000 people there this year. In my opinion, And it took me a couple times to get through Statistics 101. I had to withdraw one time, but then I got an 8 out of 9 at the U of A on it the next time. It was a hard class for the Aggies to take. But if you have over 4,000 people in a party that right now has about 45 to 48,000, and look at that as a representative of the province, you can take to the bank that what our people say at our AGM is reflective not only of our party, but it's reflective of Alberta. And I think that's very important to be able to recognize.
and I agree with Rob, and I passed that class the very first time. So
they made him smarter in Vermilion Vegreville.
We are hitting the hard stop line, so I want you to stand up, give a big round of applause to both Rob and Darrell, and to all of the candidates that are standing up for the new positions for the UCP AGM in November.
Okay, just a quick warning, everybody. We pushed this as late as we could. Now you need to understand, at 10 o'clock, the gates are locked. I don't care how much fun you're having, enjoying the visit and everything else. At 10 o'clock, that gate is locked. So you understand, that's why we had to make a hard stop. Visit very briefly. Thank you for coming out, everyone. We'll see you at the AGM, and God bless you all.
The gentle shimmer of the dawn, where freedom lies.